So we left on a cliffhanger with us being at the City Morgue on the evening of the 28th, looking for the body of Stephen Freeman, whilst Garia went back to her rooftop, above floor library, occult library, and Craig stepped out to get food for our brave investigators. So a couple things happen almost simultaneously. One is Lilith and Fletcher. You sort of using your sight, you can see that whilst there are spectral echoes here, and definitely many faint echoes, ghosts of people whose lives were cut short or they didn't know that they had passed on, but there's no kind of emanations from Stephen Freeman's body in the sense that it seems like he has passed on peacefully. But looking over the medical records with your knowledge, Professor Fletcher, you can see that he did not die of a stroke, but rather a massive coronary event, a heart attack. And they said that the levels of adrenaline in his body were huge, were incredibly high. You look at them and you think, yeah, a massive heart attack. So possibly he was frightened of something incredibly done and had a heart attack. So not a stroke, as they were first thought. But you can see that one side of his body is slightly... he's got sort of rigor mortis, but you can see on the body just by looking at the record that you can see why they might fall. That he might have fallen and hit one side of his face and maybe been in pain there. So it's not a stroke, but a heart attack brought on by, I think, fear-induced levels of adrenaline. At the same time, you get a phone call through from the police themselves at St. Leonard's, and Craig, at the same time, you'll get a radio squawk as a call out from some of the other delivery people on the street, and there is something going on the high street down one of the side closes. There's a commotion, and there's something being seen up there, something like big and something loud, and there's been screams. At the same time, Professor Fletcher, you're getting a phone call from DCI. Chalmers, you can see coming in.
Yeah, I'll answer it.
Yeah. Hello. We're getting calls in. It seems like some kind of beast or creature, a large one, is up near the high streets. But some people can't see it. But we're hearing screams and calls. If any of you nearby, I'm heading there now.
Fascinating. Yes. I think we can be there. I think.
Near John Knox's house on the main high street, near the Netherbow Well. Do you know it?
I know of it.
Yeah. It's not far from where you are. You think if you kind of sort of beat feet now, you can get there reasonably quickly. Take maybe 5-10 minutes at most to get there.
Yeah, I'll drop a text to Gary as well as we.
And Gary, remind me, your bookshop is in the Westport. Is that right?
Yeah, it's Westport.
Yeah. So when the text comes through, you know you're not that far away. It will take you about 10 minutes to walk from where you are through the grass market up to the high street. Kind of coming out of the morgue, and also, Craig, as you stepped out to kind of go off and see about gathering foods, you can see again another mist or ha has descended on the city, and it is this eerie. It was sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and so you had some light. It wasn't quite dark yet, but now with this ha in is just a pea soup, and there's the great strange sodium lights of the city are diffused, and shadows and sounds are exaggerated and stretched out. So even getting to the high street and to the John Knox's house might be a little bit of a trick. So if you can all just make me awareness checks to get there and wind your way as quickly as you can, if that's what you want to do.
Can I use my artifact magical bicycle to get there easily?
Yes, you can. So you do not need to make this check. You can ride up the side of a small close.
I've got my little magic shell and I'm just holding onto it just in case.
Okay.
I
rolled a 7.
7 for Garia.
I get slightly lost, I think.
13 for me.
13 for me as well.
13. Okay, so Craig, you're going to get there first, and then Lilith and Professor behind you, and then following up a few minutes later will be Garia. Craig, you arrive on the scene. You're on the high street, and you've kind of pulled your bike out of as nearby close as you kind of bump up steps. It's sort of, again, this, mist. The thicker mist is so thick, and you can feel the moisture settling on you. But also, as you hit the high street, and there's the strange kind of miasma and the lights that glare around, you can just see the kind of other side of the street, and you can smell straight away this kind of the smell of sewage you smelled before, and you see a sort of bright, sort of almost opalescent or nacreescent light shimmering across the street, and what you think is from the corner of a building, and you can definitely hear from down kind of as you come up to the high street. There's another small close that goes down the other side of the street. You hear a heart-rending scream. Someone in sheer terror is calling out. So Craig, you're there. The others, you're looking around. Lilith and Fletcher aren't there yet. Neither is Garia. What do you want to do?
I will head in the direction of the screen. I've got my little piece of shell out, and I'm going to be whistling the tune of a shanty. Let's go. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? That's the only one I know.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah,
All right.
the best choice.
Staggering out of the mist, you see a haunted pale figure, spectral and white. It shifts towards you and doesn't see you until someone slams into the mist, and your kind of heart stops for a moment. It's not a spectral form, but a street performer clad as a ghost from maybe one of the many ghost tours, and he is like wide-eyed and sort of livid, and you can see a name tag that says Darren Starr, Ghost Hunter, and he's like, you can see a tattered cheap cloak on him, and he's just like, oh my god, I was going to jump out of them, I was going to scare them, but it was there, it scared me, oh my god, it's real, there are things in the night, what should I do, it's right there.
Head that way, man, head that way. And I point him in the direction that I've just come from.
He sort of staggers off, I don't know where the tour is, I was meant to jump out on them. He staggers off into the mist, and you head towards...
I head in the direction he came from, and I will hold up my piece of shell, and I will go... in fact, I will drop into a squat, knock on the cobbles loudly, and say, Shellycoat, come out.
Oh, okay.
And I never heard from him again.
Goodbye.
Good luck solving the adventure,
We'll
guys.
never forget
I'll see
you,
you.
It was beautiful.
Oh, speaking of which... Oh, no, he's back again. His internet cut out. Timely. Can you make me... So, do you have a taunt skill at all? Or you do have
Fortunately, I do.
You do?
Taunt and silver
You
tongue.
can make me a taunt check.
Well, I can't use silver tongue because I'm not lying. Oh, this is dreadful. That gets me up to 6. What's this will business?
Okay, that's right. I was just going to see what your taunt was. Will, you can boost your rolls if you want to.
Do I just boost them by number, or is it a 1-for-1?
1-for-1, yeah, you can boost it, yeah.
I'm not using my will for anything else. I'll spend 2 will and bump that up to an 8.
Okay, so you say Shellycoat. And it's kind of started as almost like a rhyme, and you're saying in the manner of a sea shanty, and you hear a baleful scream from the mist ahead of you, almost like a piercing cry of a wounded animal. For you have managed to choose one of the two things that is the keenest pain and the deepest fear of the Shellycoat itself is the name and the rhyme that goes with it. Shellycoat, gang away hame, Shellycoat, I fear not your name. And staggering out and moaning, a huge figure looms out of the mist, and you can see like an ogre of tails, a tall but gangly creature. It's maybe perhaps 8 or 9 feet tall. It towers over you as you kind of kneel down on the cobblestones, tapping your shell. But you can see on it almost looks like it's been flayed. Its skin is crinkled and pussed, and you can see it's got sores and cuts on it that haven't healed, and it reeks of sewage. And you can see as it staggers towards you, it's weeping, and you can see its tears itself are the tears of the seashore and the brine. But yeah, this fetid smell, and you just hear it say, "No, please, no more, please, not you as well. Don't call my name."
Hush now, friend. Here, I bring a fine piece for you. And I will not quite try to avoid looking directly at them because they're a monster. But offering up my shell in a friendly manner.
It's at this moment that Lilith and Professor Fletcher, you step from the mists behind, and you can just make out the form of Craig Gillespie cowering on the stones, while a giant creature leers over him and reaches down. What are you wanting to do?
Can I use my counter magic to try and dispel some of this mist and get a? Is it a
Yes,
magical effect?
yes, you can. Well, it is a semi-magical effect, yeah. I'm going to say you can use your convict. So what you're going to do is roll and add your conviction to the roll.
Okay, I'm not very convicted, so
You don't have great
we'll
conviction,
see.
yeah. And Lilith, what would you like to do?
Do I have a good look at Shellycoat yet, or is the mist?
You can see, yeah, it's almost shrouded in mist, but you can see it's a tall, gangling, looming creature squatting over Craig. Oh, sorry, Craig is squatting, it is looming over him. And reaching down a long, incredibly long arm.
Oh,
Draw, guys.
So
I think I'm just going to sort of dive towards him out of a mistaken impression that possibly he's in danger and I need to do something. But not very
Great.
well because I have no agility.
So you can make me an athletics roll, but it just means just 2d6, no skill. Professor
I'm going
Fletcher,
to fall on my face.
yeah,
how is that conviction?
it is poor. I get a 3 total, but I think I'm concerned enough that something untoward is happening that I'm going to spend 5 of my will to bring it up to 8. I'm going to really put my all into it.
You know,
So
it's hard not to be flattered by all this, guys.
So two things happen. How did you go on that athletics roll, Lilith?
I rolled a 4.
A 4. Okay. Staggering on the cobbles, they are slick and wet amongst you, and it is as I said, is a pall of mist, and it hasn't yet cleared. But you go to leap towards Craig, but you stagger and stumble underfoot and crash down as the Shellycoat kind of claws down with its arm. At the same time, there is almost an emanating blast of your will, and you push back with your counter magic, and around you, the mist shreds and pushes back towards the Shellycoat, disappearing behind it and unveiling scurrying figures moving away behind it, short, squat creatures, maybe 4 or 5 of them, disappearing down, and you can see shimmering on a wall behind them some kind of eldritch graffiti, and they disappear down the steps. But what you see instead of an attack is the arm stop and take hold of a shell. And as you regain your feet, Lilith, Hazelstar, and Professor Fletcher, as the mist pushes back from you, you see the Shellycoat, his trembling hand is clutching a shell and tries to kind of place it on his sort of arm and make some kind of stopgap bandage, perhaps, or part of skin made of shells. It is then, Garia, that you stroll up the close from the other side and can see your companions standing at the feet of an unusually tall, strange creature. The streets about you are busy, and they're like busy in the sense you could hear cars in the distance, you can hear walkers, but because of the mist they seem to be distant. But you can see that none of them really see with the sight and see that before them there is some kind of fey creature. The magics of the Shellycoat prevent those around you from seeing it.
Okay,
What do
so
you wish to do?
I assume I came from like the other side of.
Yeah, you've come up. You can make me an awareness check.
10.
Okay, I'm going to say actually, you see scurrying amongst, and what you see is some kind of went down the other side, but when you walk up, you also see a kind of, flit of almost like when you turn a light on and the cockroaches, they kind of flit away and disappear at the same time. You see some going off the other side, but you see 1 or 2 going down Flesh Market Close, and you catch a glimpse. They look like incredibly ancient and wizened, and this one looks like a wizened old woman who has the features of a rat and or shrew with a pronounced long nose and a little hobbling legs, but is scurrying and disappears down.
Okay, do I know what they are with my extensive knowledge of strange things?
Yes, you can make me a lore check.
13.
13. I will bring it to you in just a moment, but I'll return to the scene with the Shellycoat and Craig, Lilith, and Rennell. What are you doing?
I'm saying you're a long way from home, Shellycoat.
I want to be home, but I can't. The weir has taken my coat. My coat of shells protects me, and now I stink like a human.
You're in a poor state, but listen, we'll put this to rights. You say the weir. Which weir?
the weir, the ancient one, the sorcerer. But I can't find him. I travel the water and I can sense my coat, but then I get here and something blocks it. I can't find the way. Help me, please.
Oh, we'll help you, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can trust us.
I saw odd figures in the mist fleeing. Do you know what they are?
They tease and taunt me. I don't know. I don't know this city. I don't know these creatures. They wrote things about me. I had to clean it away.
Oh, we'll
Kind of
take care of that.
The
Don't you worry.
Shellycoat is gestured towards that sort of shimmering eldritch graffiti on the wall.
Do we know what it says?
Yeah, you can. Well, if you using the site, can you make me a law check? And
Ooh.
I'm going to return now to speaking while you're making that law check to Garia. As you kind of, you caught enough of a glimpse of this creature. You do recall in a tome of the Fae of Edinburgh City itself that there was an ancient compact and a group called the Aldermen who were able to open the hidden ways. And you know this because you've done some research on Craig's bike, and that it in some ways taps into the almost ley lines that sit around. There are doorways and passageways that the Aldermen can open, and if you make a compact with them, they will let you in or let you through where others can't go, into Fey realms, into ghostly realms, and sometimes to other hemispheres of the world. And Edinburgh itself had an ancient order of them. They've much deteriorated, but they're still around. And you think this creature you saw was called a Auld and you know that because they sort of look like wizened rats or shrews, and they're quite small. Lilith, how did your law go?
I rolled 5 overall, so I'm gonna expend 3 will to bump that up to an 8.
Okay, so looking at this thing whilst Craig and kind of Fletcher stand with this and commiserate with the Shellycoat who shuffles sort of nervously and is trying to back its way towards the wellhead at Netherbow, which is an ancient wellhead stuck on the side of the street. It's an octagon, sort of a squared off stone structure with the mouths of both a comedy and tragedy masks of the players spewing forth water, and you can see the kind of Shellycoat shuffling back kind of tearily saying, "I just want my coat, I want to go home." But as you do that, Lilith, and you look at these things, you can see what was almost written but has been scored out, and you can see great rake marks in the stone where the talons of the Shellycoat has actually scored the stone itself. But she's rendered through words which you can hear, and almost a mocking version of the shanty that Craig unknowingly called, which was, and it's written as Shellycoat, Shellycoat, gang away hame. I cry near your mercy, for I fear near your name. And then it goes on to repeat that. But you can see twined within that, it's a ward to block or stop the Shellycoat from traversing the closes or byways of Edinburgh. So it's a particularly bonding and binding to the Shellycoat.
Has the Shellycoat broken the ward with the claw marks?
You can see that it's attacked the kind of the essence of the poem or the stanza, but it hasn't disintegrated the ward underneath. Someone who is very powerful at wards has marked this.
Someone is baiting this poor creature. Is there anything that we can do to affect this ward to maybe clear it away or weaken it?
If you had some, there are some spells. So you're a diviner, but you know there are magicians who work with wards, and they can do counter wards or break wards. But you yourself are not a ward worker, someone who binds. Or you could
Also,
maybe.
These aldermen, they're an ancient folk, and as is Shellycoat, it's possible that this whole warding business is just what they do when a giant Shellycoat monster turns up. There may not be any inherent malice in it. It might just be what they do. Like Shellycoat is obviously in a fish out of water, if you'll pardon the terrible pun, but something's been stolen from them. They want it back. They're obviously coming into an area they're not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could offer to find the coat. They say they can sense it. They might know where roughly it is, but they can't get there. Perhaps we can.
That seems a good potential solution.
So
Yeah.
you're all right. Because you can see that the shellycoat is painfully uncomfortable with being sort of out on the street, and now is trying to force its way, kind of hunker down into the little slotted drain of the well, and it just saying, I just want my coat. Please help me.
Of
So
course.
what?
Right, guys?
Yeah. Do you know where
Absolutely.
where can you sense where the coat is? Where maybe we can go where you can't tread.
It's near here, and it's to the south. I don't know. South of here, through the water, maybe to the next wellhead. I can feel it, but I can't see further than the water.
Further south. So
Okay.
And then,
that gets us close to Holyrood.
well, then I meant north.
That gets us close to the Tron.
So
I think
because
that's south.
I did extensive research while those guys were in the morgue, right?
Yes, you've been doing some research.
Yeah, so I did some research into kind of the wellheads of the city centre.
Yeah, so you know that that there's the Netherbow wellhead, then there's the kind of what's known as the High Street well, and then the next one along, that's sort of in this pathway of these waterways, would be the West Bow wellhead, which is down in the grass market. You know there is a more recent one called Witch's Well, but you know that that's sort of more of a spring, and it was sort of more put up as a plaque. It's less a well that's kind of a common known one, but it sort of has a supernatural name, so people assume it's sort of an ancient kind of magical one. But you know that in terms of ancient waterways, the High Street Well and the West Bow Well.
I share this information with my fellow.
Okay, so we'll sort of leave that. You're still on the high street, and kind of, but depending on what you do, you can just see that the kind of shellycoat is acquiescing to a form of water and is slowly slipping away, but with the kind of promise from you that you would seek for its coat. Yep. Okay. And you can feel its sort of form shimmers, and the kind of wretch with a poor kind of flayed skin disappears into the water with downs. My coat from the weir, and then. Yeah, you're left on the echoing, misty streets as the mist finally starts to roll away, but around you there's this odd spherical sphere of the kind of emanations of the will of Fletcher that has pushed it back. But yeah, the sounds of the street return, and it is dark now, but you can hear far off the city. The city comes back to life. The sounds of cars and the walk of pedestrians nearby.
So I think this is the first time I hear of this weir. I think I was a bit late to that conversation. Do I know what that means?
You could definitely make me a law check with that one. And I'd say, yeah, for the others, Fletcher and Lilith, you could make me a law check as well.
I've got a 13.
Okay, that's not bad at all. So,
Gary, would it be worth bumping that up to 14? Get us a bit more info.
Do?
If you'd like to, you can push that up with your will.
Yeah, let's put it up to. What's the 1? 2? What's the
Just by 1 to 14.
5 I need? Oh.
You want to get 5 over. Yeah, to be a critical success. If it's an 8, and I'm going to say, yeah, this is information you could learn. So if you bump it up, So if you spend it, so 14, and with your kind of nods and kind of, oh yes, sort of from your fellow colleagues who are also aware of this. Yeah, a weir could be referring to a kind of an element in the water, but you know there is a famous weir within Edinburgh and near Westbow, there was Major Thomas Weir, who was known as the Saint of Westbow, who lived in a house on the kind of bending, winding street. It's now known as Victoria Street. That's sort of a split-level street that winds its day down. And, you know, he was revered as a saintly man in his life, but towards the end of his life, after he'd had a career in the army and had done very well and was, revered and well respected, at the end of his life, he started to claim that he, in fact, was not a good man, that, in fact, he had been a black sorcerer or a necromancer, and that had been up to sort of malicious deeds. And at first, people didn't want to believe it because he was a well-known person. He'd helped out. He and his sister were both well-loved. But eventually, after sort of taunting crowds and taunting peoples, they turned on him. And it is said that he was executed in the grass market, and his house destroyed. And that was sort of back in the 1670s. But he's been long known as sort of a folkloric thing as being the first kind of true black sorcerer of Edinburgh. And often the ghost tours will define the location of his lost house, where he was last seen. But given you got a critical success by bumping it up, is there anything else you would like to know?
Do we think?
If he has any kind of, well, which one his house is, I presume you already know that, actually.
Or if he might have any kind of connection to Shellycoat that might be causing him to behave this way if he's stolen her coat.
Yeah, historic feuds between them.
It sounds more like he's using something is using Shellycoat to wreak havoc.
Yeah.
Possibly because of the change of the seasons.
Yeah, I wonder if we could get a glimpse, if it is him, if he's the person behind this, the spirit behind this. I wonder if we could get a glimpse of what his motivations might be.
Okay, so you've got several questions there. Which one would you like?
Do we want to go with the? I'm confused why he would come out towards the end of his life and go about telling everyone that he was a sorcerer just to get killed. It's a bit odd.
Maybe it's like getting really into CrossFit. It's only when you really start getting into it that you start talking about it.
Well, I think we have the answer there. There's nothing more that the Eldritch Tomes can tell you other than that CrossFit is good.
Also, just subtly CrossFit, evil sorcery.
Yeah, let's. Do we know if there was any? If he had an ultimate goal during his lifetime? Was there anything he was working towards?
Okay.
Nefarious purposes.
And yep. So as a group, you're happy that's going to be your story. Is he had nefarious purposes? So you realise to do this, you have books and you have research at home. So if you make your way back to your library, you think now there are some old texts and grimoires that you know that you could look into. So to answer this question, if you're all happy, we'll decant back to the upstairs hidden occult library of the group.
Tea for everyone.
Yep. Yes. Oh, please, yes.
Cup of tea. Yes, I have a drink of water too. Yeah, so consulting the texts and with the help of your fellow investigators, with Fletcher looking through some cross-referencing and Lilith sort of divining which text may be the best to look in, and Craig sort of, doing the things that Craig does whilst you all study hard. Yes, you come across some more references. It seems as if he was truly pious when he was younger, but that he became obsessed with gaining power and being the truest sorcerer, and that something, maybe an ancient spirit, gave him the power he was after. That is what turned his soul black. But it is said, and we're looking into it as well, is that he kind of was trying to gain his sister into this power as well, because there was a lot of rumors towards the end of his life about what his relationship with his sister was. That he was trying to gain her to be powerful, so they could be a ruling family, and he could be a true sort of ruler through magic, magiocrat, and that this kind of conviction of telling people was that his hubris was that he wanted to be known. But he seemed to have not counted on his. He thought he was more powerful, taken down by the crowd. It is said that he was executed. His house was burned, and it's always been a mystery where his house was, but somewhere on West Bow, on the split level street, his house stood.
Well, we could just go find the most modern building there.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
That's probably where it was. I know there's a Pizza Express on the corner. Let's start there.
It'll be that.
Yeah. And it was okay.
You're
Is there
hungry?
anything else you'd like to
There is.
research? So you found out about the weir. Is there anything else you'd like to look up?
Oh,
Does he
we
have
should look up his
any
family.
surviving relatives?
Maybe.
You know that he had a sister, Jenna, but who is or Jenna or Jean. It's hard to tell from the old text. There's different names. It seems sadly she was caught up in his schemes and tarred with the same brush, and she was killed as a witch and executed in the grass market. And it said that she was given a pauper's burial in the Greyfriars Kirk.
No other living relatives surviving?
Not that I know. It seems that he was not married, and that anyone knows.
Kind of backfired on him a bit, then, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose the question is now: is he using Shellycoat to wreak havoc in Edinburgh, or has he stolen the coat for some other purpose?
It does defends Shellycoat, keeps him safe from harm. It possibly might have some magical power in and of itself. But other than, what has robbing Shellycoat done? Well, I suppose also it's something that has almost no repercussions, because Shellycoat is barred by these aldermen from going anywhere. So someone, if they manage to steal it, would be, somewhat unassailable, having done so. But it's also someone who would have had to get to, realistically, Portobello. So, I mean, if this is a ghost or a spirit that's haunting the remains of his manor, either they can travel, which is obviously not impossible, or they have some kind of servant or, familiar that will do things for them.
So someone must have engaged the alderman to.
Well, they seem like a bit of an automatic thing.
They're not automatic. In the sense, they're not an automatic defense. No, they are a guild of creatures. Or people, I should say. Some are fey creatures.
We have heard of some strange goings-on recently, haven't we? A new gang potentially breaking into locations around Edinburgh, and also potentially rogue vampires. People have been going missing. I wonder if either of those things are related at all to Ware's plans.
Quite possibly.
Hmm.
Well, again, not to strike pun, shall we go check out the site of his house? Should hopefully give us our next clue.
That feels like the
Let's do
sensible
it.
lead to me.
Yeah.
Okay, doing a little bit of research online, it turns out that sort of in the ancient texts there was sort of no kind of references to specifically where it is, but recently some online chat and forums under some of the ghost tours of Edinburgh seem to suggest that the Quaker Meeting House at 7 Victoria Street sits on or is either adjacent to or partially built over where Major Thomas Weir's house may have been.
Those Quakers. Always the ones we least suspect.
So let's shift it to the next scene. Are you wanting to go to there, or is there anything else you'd like to do? Are you wanting to sort of check out the alderman or do some more research? What would you like to do?
I mean, we could. The aldermen clearly have some knowledge of Shellycoat. We could ask them. But if they're a faction, then, they might
Especially
be.
if they're currently being engaged by.
Indeed. Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
I think-
realistically, if there is some sinister scheme afoot, we can thwart it quite easily by getting this coat back to Shellycoat, right?
Yes.
Agreed.
So let's focus on that.
Fine.
Okay.
And then at some point figure out what we're getting for our trouble.
So where would you like to go? So to find out where the house is?
Yeah. I think
Okay. So you're not too far. You're actually in the Westport, which is not far from. You're at one end of the grass market, which is sort of so you head down the hill and into the old sort of cobbled, which was once a market for selling wares and creatures and kith and kind coming through the Cowgate into the grass market itself for sale. But then you head back up a sort of steep hill, and the street itself becomes split level, where there are houses and shops built into the sort of vaults in the undercity, and then the street has another level which pedestrians can walk up onto. And you kind of make your way up. There's a sort of staircase that comes through where there's a void where one shop used to be, and comes out. In between two buildings, there's a space, and to your left is the Quaker Meeting House that sort of sits on this kind of jutting promenade above the street of Victoria.
It's on the right.
On the right. Oh, yes. Well, if you come out the stairs, it is on your right. Yes. Yep. So you've come out. It's if you've gone there straight there, it is now maybe perhaps the hour, like 11:30 after your research. Maybe you can hear after sort of standing around and looking for a bit. It actually chimes quarter hour to 12. So you're close to the midnight hour, the witching hour. There is a light rain that's settled again, and the flickering lamps and soda lights of the streets kind of give a glow. And this time of night and this time of year, there are very few people in the streets around you. But yeah, you stand outside the closed doors of the Quaker Meeting House. It's darkened and shut up.
Can I see any magics or any lines between worlds here?
Okay, yep. So you're gonna look for some magic things. Gary, were you saying you're gonna do something?
Well, I'm pretty good at getting into places that are locked, so maybe have a little try to get that door open. Does it look like it's
I can
particularly
give you a hand with that.
sophisticated?
It doesn't look like it's particularly sophisticated. So you're going to attempt some breaking and entry with the assistance of Craig.
I'll look
Fletcher,
out.
you'll look out. Yeah. Can Professor Fletcher and Lilith, you can both make me awareness checks. And Professor Fletcher, you're using the sight, so you're going to try and you see that any spectral or magical emanations. And Gary and Craig, so Gary, you can make a skill for breaking entry. Just remind you, I think it's streetwise. You can make a streetwise check with your bonus of +2 for breaking entering if you've got that, or from Craig's assistance.
Well, I have breaking and entering.
Okay, so you're going to get +2 and Craig's assistance, so you're going to get +4 to this roll. It's not a difficult lock, so an 8 is all you need to get.
I've already rolled a 10, so we're okay.
Fantastic. Yes, to your quick, nimble fingers, the lock seems to melt away, and you open it up, and you gain entrance to the Quaker Meeting House. In the meantime, Professor Fletcher, what was your awareness?
It was 10.
10. Okay, yeah. I'll come back to you in just a second. And Lilith, what was your awareness?
11.
11. So, Professor Fletcher, whilst you're looking around, you can see that sort of on the footpaths around, there's kind of a lot of walkways. You don't see magic per se, but you do see something that's been scribed or scratched over and over again on these old streets. Now, given that this has long been a close, so lots of families live here, but it would seem that maybe children have often played here, because scored into the ground are the ancient marks of a symbol that you often see, and it is strange, arcane, and often baffles adults that see you. But you see, and I'll give you a little. I'm not sure if you can see that. It is the marks of hopscotch.
What does it mean?
At the same time, Lilith, you are kind of looking out, and you do spy a shuffling little figure dart into one of the closest nearby, short and scrawny.
I'm gonna communicate that to the others. I think I've seen one of those aldermen. He went that way.
Maybe
Get him.
Try and
I'm gonna sort of, not in a hostile way, but I'm gonna sort of move. If I can see where he's gone, I'm gonna try and follow him and be sort of like, hello, just want to ask a few questions.
Okay, so you're not trying to be stealthy, you're just trying to kind of catch up with and call out. Great. Professor Fletcher, what are you doing to that? You.
So I can see the hopscotch, hopscotch etching on the ground.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I might put down my satchel and hop along it.
Oh,
Discovering
okay.
your inner child.
Well, when in
Gar-
Rome.
And Garia and Craig, are you entering the premises, or are you also moving along with
I mean,
Lilith?
spending 5 minutes intricately picking a lock, and we turn around. One of them's run off. One of them's playing hopscotch. I mean,
Great.
Honestly, can't get the staff.
uh,
We
Garia,
don't.
shall
We
we-
don't go in.
no.
Don't go in without them. No, we can't just leave them out here being foolish. So
You check on this one. I'll go check on Lilith.
Okay. You both turn to sort of move off, and as you turn, you just sort of see Professor Reynolds kind of hop past you, and then utterly disappear.
let's come back. Got a problem.
Am I close enough to still hear that?
You're close enough to hear that, yeah. You're also close enough to hear that there's a sort of squeal of something in the alleyway. You are close to it, but you do hear.
Oh, I'm torn. But my party needs me. I'm turning around and going back.
No
Right.
role-playing gamer has ever done this before. Chosen the party over something weird running off. This is new to the world.
You make your way back. Professor Fletcher will be with you in a moment. But for the rest of you, yes, it is as if he hopped one moment and then vanishes utterly.
Okay. Can I do a lore check? Have I ever heard of something like that happening before?
You can make me a law check, yes. And you want to do well. This is 10.
Can I
I'm gonna-
also make a check using both my artifact and perhaps my streetwise as to does this seem like any of the strange little ways that I can move across the city quickly?
You can make me an awareness check with that. Gary, you're doing your law check. And Lilith?
I'll bless somebody's check. Who wants to be blessed?
I've got +5, so you can bless someone else.
I'll bless you, Garia.
Well, I
Bless
rolled
you.
an 11, and I get a 3 for lore, so I'm already at 14.
Okay. So this is a success with Lilith's blessing. The knowledge pours from the stones themselves, and you can tell that this is possibly an entrance to a ghostly realm. These are very distinct from Fey realms, and they are often they come about maybe once a year, once 100 years, or in some span of years, an opening will happen, and whatever lies beyond here is the sole domain of a spirit revenant that has clung on and manifested itself its own space. So beyond here, it is not the world as you know it. It is not the world of Fae. It is the world of the inside of the mind of a spirit.
Okay, if I'm able
I share
to.
this with.
Yeah, and I'll get to you in just 1 second, Mr. Fletcher, because we're going to come switch back to you. Craig, yeah, you can see that whilst nearby there are many kind of these slipways. In fact, opening just at the top of this stairwell, you can see is one of the passages that perhaps are frequently travelled by the alderman. Professor Reynolds, you hop and your last footfall echoes behind you, and you stand in a washed out, rain-streaked, grey landscape. It is echoingly quiet and utterly kind of bewildering. There is a stone, like you slam into the kind of rattling doorway of a building that was not there before, but half in where you kind of, your senses are a bit bewildered, half in where the Quaker's Meeting House is, and half into this space where the stairwell now sits, is an old townhouse, rickety and stumbling. You can see small lead-like glass windows, but everywhere around is just a grey washed out. There is no colour, and where you stand, it's chilling and cold and feels utterly lifeless.
Good. I see this was a good decision. I'm going to just send a quick WhatsApp message to keep an eye on my satchel.
There is no signal and there is no presence. You can feel that you are utterly cut off from the world around you.
I think in a curse.
You Also realize that where you're standing, you're sort of standing on a paving stone that was kind of etched out by the hopscotch thing, and it's slowly eroding away and crumbling under your feet.
That doesn't look great. I'll take a step forward and avoid collapsing into the void.
So a step forwards will either take you into or the wall or the front door.
When there's a door, it's only got one purpose, hasn't it? So let's give it a knock and then an open if I need to be quick.
All right. So I'm going to let us know. So we do not have long left in this story of A Green and Pleasance Land, but the door is knocked and there's a reverberant banging, and then the door does click as if someone or something has opened a latch, and it swings open. But beyond you is a strange sight. There is darkness and gloom, and you can see drifting like maybe detritus and dust from many years of neglect. But standing on the footpath, the sort of where the footwell would be, or the gutter cleaner where you step in and clean the dirt from your boots, is standing a strange creature. At first, you kind of seem horrified. It looks like a dried out and desiccated cat, but rather than being mummified and stiff and rictus, it is uncurling itself and yowling, and a slow, soundless yowl comes out of its mouth, and you see kind of glassy, taxidermied eyes look up at you, and it just says, "What are you doing here?"
I was told that a great sorcerer lived here, and
And
thought
you
share
wish to meet him?
in a manner of speaking.
What would you do when you come in here? Do you seek to release him, or do you seek to parley with him? What do you seek?
I would seek to parley with him and hopefully exchange, as an academic myself, exchange ideas and knowledge to the betterment of both of us.
This cat kind of slowly uncurls and sort of haunches its back as if in a kind of a odd mockery of a cat sort of elongating its spine, and you can see the kind of stiff leather-like skin that is totally desiccated and husked onto it, sort of stretches and creaks, and it sort of yowls. "You may enter, but not with my protection, if you seek an exchange of that foul creature's knowledge." And it steps to the side slowly, kind of brushing up against your leg in a sort of dry, rasping fashion.
Thank you very much, Cat.
And before you make before you kind of stepping across the threshold, the door swings shut, and we'll go back to the others. Craig and Garia and Lilith.
So this is some sort of
Okay.
ghostly doorway, you say?
Yes.
Yeah, from
Well, do we follow him, or do
feel
we
like-
stay?
He might need backup, right?
He will.
What if we can't come back?
that is a distinct possibility. You know that ghostly realms, time can work differently there, and so you can step over, and if you step back, it might be years or centuries later. It's hard to tell, because whatever creature holds sway here, they have sway over this all aspects of this pocket realm.
So, do we have anything that we could trade with whatever creature rules such a realm? Do you have any books that you might want to give it? Anything we might have?
I've just got the book I'm currently reading with me. Don't know if he's into sexy vampires.
I mean,
Sure.
pretty high chances, I would think.
Yeah,
Would this
might,
be-
might.
In exchange for
I
the
mean, if he's
coat.
trapped there, it's probably and possibly letting us out again. To be honest.
Okay, let's think. It's about midnight. We're in the West Bow. What about food? Modern, exciting food. This guy's from what, the 1600s?
Yeah,
They
1670s.
only just got
1700s,
sugar.
yeah.
Like, honestly, we could take them like a donut and they would blow their tiny minds.
That's an excellent point. If we
And
know what
I
takes
know a
place,
couple of
Smart
takeaways
idea.
around here. Yeah, give me like 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'm gonna rush off, and I will go to Yum Yum, the really nice guy on George IV, and I will get some fabulously spiced and delightful food.
Make him an athletics check because you're wanting to do this quick, and you're going to use your faithful steed, the bike of slippery ways. The other two, Garia and Lilith, you're standing guard on this sort of doorstep or this liminal opening. Yeah, time works differently in this realm, Fletcher, and you step across the doorway and into the house, and the kind of cat sort of moves its way away. And now you notice that you come and step further in, there are many more of these cats, and they seem to prowl across the floor, and all of them are this sort of strangely desiccated, mummified cats that are animated. You can make me a law check because this does start to twig your memory.
Get 11.
Yeah, you think that should be enough. That you think these are possibly anatrophos or anatrophic cats, which were meant to be often found in old buildings. They are cats that are deliberately placed somewhere within voids or within spaces that dry out and desiccate, and they are said to be to block or stop witchcraft. And from looking here, you see that maybe these cats are here are to block or stop something coming in and out of this house.
Or I will ask one of the cats things. Will you be when I meet this the resident of this house? Are you suppressing his magic?
You can make me a charm check if you want. They are, after all, aloof cats at the best of times, and these are ancient, decrepit, mummified, magical cats sent to ward and block the foulness of magic.
I'm not very charming with cats. I get a 5.
Okay. Yes, as aloof as ever, one of them sort of just walks away from you and says, you can just hear a cat, we do what we please, but he has so far not got past us.
Excellent. Thank you. I don't know any of your names, cats, but they're all fine.
Now, in terms of time, we are quickly running out of time for this session, so I'm going to just move it along a little bit, chivvy us into a slightly more dramatic and filmic conclusion. So I'll say that Craig...
Where we all die. Nice.
Yeah, you all die. No, Craig, you've returned with your food, and Garia, Lilith, and Craig, you stand on the footsteps. Excellent. Other delivery services are available. On this doorstep of Major Thomas Weir's house. And do you repeat the steps of your possibly lost companion?
I think we've got to go in after him, don't we?
Yeah, let's do it.
We can't leave him.
Hopscotch
Do quite
time.
like him.
Bring my satchel.
Okay, you're hopscotching your way across, and each in turn, when you cast a stone or a stick or a piece of chalk and hop the squares, the ward and passageway opens up, and you step beyond the mortal world into the realm of Major Thomas Weir's house. But in the meantime, where time echoes and oozes slowly like thick dripping honey, Reynolds, you've been down, kind of wandering around the bottom of these cats, and you kind of look up after a sort of slightly sort of fuggish and moment. You can't quite tell how long you've been here. It could have been just moments you've stepped beyond, or maybe hours, and you look at your watch and it's stopped long ago. I mean, you could have been here standing, kind of conversing with these cats for maybe even days. There's a parched taste in your mouth, and you kind of feel grittiness in your eyes. But ahead of you is a long, low room. You're in an old book, got kind of lime-washed walls, there are exposed beams above you. It looks like there is an old decrepit kitchen table, and there is pewterware on shelves and an old sink with an indoor hand pump. But ahead of you, you see on the ground, in this strange half light, I mean, there are no candles flickering here, but there are old thin lead light windows, a couple of them next to the door where you came in. You see a trapdoor in one corner that the cats sort of artfully curve around and never quite cross, and a set of rickety stairs that go up, then turn on a landing and go up and disappear up into a second story. What do you wish to do?
Well, if I was an evil wizard, I'd be going up. Towers are more wizardy than basements, I think. I'll cautiously take the stairs up.
Just as you're mounting the steps, again, this sort of dizziness and strangeness overcomes you, and as Garia and Lilith and Craig, you arrive on the doorstep, and you just sort of see it swinging shut and reverberating, and you can hear beyond it a yowling meow, but a doorway has just shut as you step through, and you can hear the echo of a conversation on the other side. What do you wish to do? Okay. There's the booming knocks as you knock, and again the doorway opens, and you can see in the hazy light the strange, almost ghost-like apparition of Professor Fletcher standing on the trapdoor and slowly it's opened, and he's going down the stairs into some subterranean room of the house. But ahead of you is a cat meowling as you saw before, and stricken with mummification, dried with ancient years. It says, "What do you wish? Do you wish entry to this place?"
Yes, we're with him.
We're looking for a coat.
A coat, and the cat meows and curs. "I once had a fine coat before it was lost to me, to the years. But do you seek entry? Do you seek to parley, to take away, to release?"
I think we just want to get the coat back, right? It's made of shells.
And
I don't know
him.
if you've seen anything like that.
You can, if anyone knows, wants to charm or try something.
I'm wondering, would my coin work on these ancient, unknowable beings? My coin of knowing that sort of...
Oh, yes. Yeah, you could try it.
Yeah, so I'll bring my coin out, just kind of start, doing that thing, moving it between my fingers. I'm sort of like, you know me. I've been by before. I just want to get the coat. Like, I don't want to free any evil sorcerer.
Oh, nice. What I'll do is I'll just roll, see if the cat can maintain its convict. Oh, you've done well. So there's a stray light, reflects off the coin and scatters onto the ground, and you see the cat unconsciously bat out with a paw and try and catch the light, and seems entranced by your toy. And then it kind of looks up and he goes, "Oh, yes. What were you saying? Oh, it's you.
It's
What
me.
after?" The coat. Oh, someone snuck it in here. Some little sneak thief knew the wards and how to break them, and brought the master here many things. Ugh, and he kept it. He kept it for a long, long time until it wept and cried, and then he released it to get him more things. I think, yes, the coat is here with the master.
Thank you. You have been a very, very helpful kitty.
It kind of looks very. If a desiccated husk of a cat can do so, it kind of fawns things and rubs against you, and you get the kind of variegated rib cage. You are allowed in, and you step forth, and the other cats depart. And yeah, you see the shadowy, almost ghost-like form of Professor Fletcher descending into the cellar.
Let's follow him.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's follow him.
Okay, you make your way to the cellar, and it is open, and you tramp down the steps, and there's a strange vertiginous feeling. And as you tramp, you find your foot like you've missed a step, and you kind of step forwards, and you're on the landing of a wooden floored long room. There's heavy oak paneling ahead of you. There's a stair going up from where you are, and on the wall hangs an ancient oil painting that is dark and dimmed and crusted with age, of a young woman. And there's a nightstand, but next to you is a long wall of oak panels. Seems to be a doorway. You're certainly not in a cellar. Professor Fletcher, your foot falls leadenly, and you are in a dark chamber. You can gloomily see above you, light cascades down, and you're kind of looking around. You're in some kind of cellar. You last definitely went up the stairs, and looking around, you see, there are maybe old casks of wine in here. There's a sour smell. There's a disused, sort of long disused bed, maybe a scullery maid's bed, and there are sort of old pieces of crockery and tableware down here. You are not where you thought you should have been.
Pesky wizards. How old is the wine?
Well, from its sour smell, probably many, many years old.
Too old.
Don't do it, Fletcher.
What are there any other entrances or exits to this?
No, it seems like a root cellar. Often they're sort of in the city, cut down into the rock. Some of them can connect with other kind of voids in the city, but this one seems like a fairly, slightly mildewy and rank cellar.
I'll have just a quick look round to see if anything jumps out, and otherwise head back up down.
I don't think you want anything to jump out.
Make me an awareness check.
Good paper then. 11.
Ooh, that's going to do it. You can see, and you're kind of getting the subtle vibrations, and now that your head clears somewhat, you can see there's someone has woven a spell across these stairs that befuddles the mind, so up is down.
Am I able to counter that?
You've got your counter magic, so if you can make me a roll, your conviction roll, and add your conviction to it.
Yes, that went well last time.
And then I'll cut back whilst you're doing that to the others. You stand at the top of the stairs, definitely not in a cellar, and ahead of you is this sort of oak-panelled wall that cuts off what would be a long room quite close to you, with a closed door, and then another stairs leading up. Looking up, though, is a very odd sensation. On the ceiling, it's entirely covered with what look like cow skulls or possibly horse skulls. You can't see, and they've been nailed to the ceiling, and they're all in sort of this kind of all facing in the same direction. It looks like the ceiling's entirely covered with them in parallel rows. And as you stand there looking, you can see sifting down from above you is dust or some kind of detritus. It looks almost like flakes of something coming down from the ceiling. And whilst you can't hear it, it's almost like the ceiling above you is bouncing, or almost as if there is the footfalls of a ceilidh or a dance going upstairs, and beneath, sifting down is this dust.
I love what they've done with the interior. Definitely beyond Scotland's best homes.
Should we go up and see what's...
Are we
I think we have to. Yeah.
probably?
So you're going to make your way up to the next floor?
I do wonder what happened to the professor. He doesn't seem to be up here. I thought he was ahead of us.
Maybe
Yeah.
he's joining in the ceilidh.
Maybe. He is quite light-footed, isn't he?
Like hopscotch.
Okay. Well, you make your way up the stairs, and again there's that slight vertiginous sensation, and your foot stumbles as you miss a stair, and you end up back down in the ground floor where you came into the kitchen, just as you see. Let me find out what was your conviction roll, Professor Reynolds.
It was a 6. I'm going to spend a couple more will to get that to an
I
8.
certainly would. Yep, to an 8. If you've got more will, you're going to need to go up to a 10 for this one.
I don't have the will in me.
Okay.
No.
So don't forget, once per adventure, you can use your drive in some way, as if you can link it with this to roll d6 to gain d6 more will. So if you felt like this would something that you would push for acquiring and finding out true knowledge, maybe.
I am eager to see the research of this evil sorcerer.
Okay, you can roll d6 and give yourself d6 will.
Nothing more than to re-establish my place. I got another 4, so that brings me up to 12.
Okay, yes. Kind of staggering and pushing yourself against it. There's a powerful spell on these stairs, an incantation that reverses your footing, but you work against it with your counter magics. And as your foot falls, the last one, you step up onto the the flight. You're into the ground floor, just as your companions step off the bottom's flights, and you're face to face with your friends.
Sure.
Pleasure.
Hey, Prof.
With the
What
the
were you
unhelpful cat.
thinking?
I mean,
That cat was super helpful.
a hopscotch.
It is then that you hear
Where's-
from very, very far away the resounding bell of midnight, which you would saw it should have struck long ago, and you just hear from the cat saying, "Time is fleeting in here. Time is fleeting."
We need to find Shellycoat's coat. Can we sort of start to investigate this
Yeah.
confusing place?
Now that Professor Reynolds has kind of pushed through and counted against it, if you make me a law check, you think you could find out what is happening here.
How about a 14?
Aria to the rescue there, yes. And Lilith, how did you do?
I got a
Yeah.
7.
7. Oh, good. Well, with yes. It's your research skill again. You do recommend or recollect one of the ancient folktales of Thomas Weir. It is said that that he had a marriage bed. But the oddness of that is it's not said that he was married, but that someone who'd bought the house before it was burned down had said that they'd woke one night to find a cow standing on the end of the bed looking down at them, and it terrified them, and they'd ran to the stairs. And it's then they said that their senses were befuddled, and they thought that black magic from Thomas Weir made the stairs that go up lead down and the stairs that lead down go up, and said he was all, couldn't confusion until the morning rose, and then he fled and never went back to the house. So you think with what Reynolds said, perhaps there is a curse placed on these stairs by Major Thomas Weir. You'd have to go down to go up.
I share this information with my...
And presumably we'd have to go up to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to get to the cellar, we've got to climb these stairs.
Professor
how I got
Fletcher's
in there,
been to the cellar. We don't want to go back there,
We
do
need to
we?
go
Go
downstairs.
down to the cellar to get up to the top of the house.
There's the one.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
only terrible wine in the cellar. I wouldn't recommend it.
And you now recollect, and it kind of comes to you that you did try to go down to cellar, and that's what led you up.
Okay, so down the stairs we go to go up.
Okay, you traipse your way down, and yeah, strangely, that sort of shift of perception and vertiginous feeling and a misstep, and you stand again on the second story, the floorboards under your feet, the creaking roof above you, which is now, you can see the sifting dust has slowed down, and you hear creaking footsteps leading along the roof above you, as if someone is walking away from near to the stairs where you were, on the floor above.
Well, I think
So-
There is this panel door. The panel's here and a door and a picture frame on the wall. It's gloomy. It's a very kind of Spartan place.
We tried to go up these stairs and we ended up downstairs again. So can't go up those stairs.
No, but if you think you went down the stairs, you might get up.
I see. Yeah.
So
So,
we-
if we go back, if we go down them
Oh,
again,
hang about. I try to go up the stairs backwards.
Okay. You walk up the stairs backwards, and it's just even more disorientating, but you find yourself in the floor below. Professor Reynolds walking down, you find yourself seemingly at the top of the flight of stairs above you. You have
Good
reached
power.
the third floor. And then kind of, Craig, you have to sort of run back down the cellar stairs, and you kind of reach the top. But yeah, so if you get to you come out at the top of those stairs, and if you walk back down them again, strangely enough, you end up at the next floor. Above you, you have come up to a stairs. There's no stair leading above you, but there is a long room, and you can feel the first time there is warmth in the building. You can hear the crackling of flame, but the light isn't sort of bright and orange. There's still this grey sepia light around, but there are heavy curtains between you and the rest of the room, and you can see there's a gentle flutter, but basically someone has created a partition across this long room close to where the stairs come up, and beyond you can hear a clutter, but you can also hear the sort of a fluttering of the breeze. You do hear sort of a scraping of like a chair being moved back and someone walking, and then some movement.
Okay. I mean, do we agree that a frontal attack on one of the mightiest black sorcerers in Edinburgh's history is maybe not the best idea?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I think
are we
agreed.
committed to attacking, or should we try and sneak? Or
Well, that's what I
barter?
was thinking.
We just
I
need.
could have a.
Well, we heard him moving away from the stairs, right?
Yeah.
So it's safe to assume that he's seen us.
Not necessarily.
Hmm.
We've lost our.
Oh, lost our
I know.
fearless DM.
Oh no!
Oh
We've
no!
taken
Hey,
by
quick,
the sorcerer.
quick!
Oh boy. We've got to. As soon as he comes back, we'll just be saying how we won, and it was
Oh, wow!
Solved
What a
it.
victory.
Solved it. Totally solved it.
I
Really
always
good
knew it would
bits.
go like that.
It was
that
amazing.
sorcerer
We had
was no match for that
had a-
plan we came
Yes.
up with. Never need to speak about again.
we had a nice cup of
What
tea
was
with them.
Yeah, and that tea.
Well, those
Hmm.
biscuits,
Good time had by all.
definitely. Well, we should maybe come up with a plan, though.
Yes, that's a good idea. Oh, we've got. I see that there's some maps here.
There's a map of the second floor, so there's the curtain and there's the room beyond.
Ooh,
Maybe the stealthiest one of us could kind of try and sneak into the room and have a look around and see if we can
Hmm.
spot the coat.
I am back. Sorry, I.
Welcome
Welcome back.
Oh,
Yeah, we solved it while you were gone.
great. I'll let you come back on.
yeah, all sorted.
So yes, when last we met, you were standing behind the fucking heavy velvet curtains, and you were discussing either a full frontal assault on the Black Sorcerer Thomas Weir, or perhaps a more stealthy approach.
Yeah.
It is a role-playing game, so I'm afraid I must suggest that we burn this house down.
I feel like that might do more harm than good with the cats and them being the only thing between
We're-
him and escaping and
There's a
wreaking
good
havoc.
chance.
I mean, I
we'll
don't
release
want to
them.
burn it down. It's just that this is what we
It's
do in
just
this
gonna
situation.
happen.
That is
Yeah.
how these things usually play out.
Yeah.
I'll get the Molotov cocktail.
We got to take it off the list and then move on.
You do get a sensation that almost a chill runs through, particularly Lilith, through you, with your kind of sense of connection to spaces, that you feel utterly adrift in here, that this is no longer anchored to the city of Edinburgh. But at the mention of setting fire to it, you get a kind of a flash of burning and the smell and stench of timbers crashing to the ground and screaming, and that, yes, fire certainly here is a feared or fearful thing.
Ah, so we might have a way of, if it does come to a confrontation with this sorcerer, we might have a way of keeping him at bay at least.
Mm.
Hmm.
I say we try and sneak first, see if
Well-
we can see this coat. Oh, sorry, Garia.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Do you want me to go and have a wee sneak?
Well, I'm good at that as well. So you and I go and have a look
Yeah.
around and see what we can find. Do you guys want to take the takeaway in case you need to do a deal?
Yes,
And
a
we'll-
deal. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't need the takeaway.
What?
I feel we can put Fletcher in as bait.
And does any of you have a
Sorry,
lighter
distraction.
in case things go south?
I feel like
Oh,
the
that's
mummified cat's good Tinder.
I don't think that's very nice.
Poor
In an
kitties.
emergency, they weren't helpful to me at all.
They were nice to me.
All right. Well, in lieu of impending time commitment, I'm going to shift this on. So we've got our two, Garia and Craig. Can you both make me stealth checks, please? Whilst Lilith and Professor Fletcher, you are behind the curtains.
Consuming takeaway
It
to
was
see if
terrible. That was a.
Don't eat it.
I rolled an 8.
Even with your bonuses. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
even with my bonuses.
Did you get a double one by any chance? No.
I get a 15.
15.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Craig, you're able to slip past, and you are the first through, and also Gary, as you're moving past as well. You see on the other side is an old book-lined room with a sort of fairly threadbare rugs, but along the walls are lots of books, and you instantly Scaria spot them as grimoires and texts. So this is certainly a full sorcerer's library. There's a fireplace sort of burning but not giving off any warmth. But you can just see as you come past Craig the feet of an elderly gentleman just kind of climbing a ladder into a sort of an attic space, and he's just kind of, the feet are just disappearing. But as you do that, Garia, you kind of just bump one of these shelves, which are not fixed, they're just old cabinets, and it just creaks and falls forwards and slams on the floor and scatters books. And instead of ascending into the attic, Major Weir drops down, scowling and looking towards Garia. He has not seen you, Craig. You are still hidden. But it's a strange sight. He seems to move and be overlaid as if he has been redrawn and redrawn. You kind of look at him and he's not a solid person, but he is almost made out of dust, all these flakes that you've seen around. And he's like a rendered form being held together by the force of will, and he staggers towards you, and you could hear him sort of screaming or like venomously insulting you, but you can hardly hear any words. It's like an echo of a voice comes at you from the void. What do you want to do?
Good evening. Good evening. Apologies for bumbling in. My name is Garia. I am a specialist book purveyor, and I am here to sell you the new encyclopedia of magical spells. Are you interested? We're doing a special offer, pre-pop.
And are you trying to use a taunt or a charm here? What are you trying to do with this gambit?
I'm bluffing. No bluffing skills.
Okay, you can see him sort of gesticulating at these kind of books on the ground, and as you sort of say, I'm a kind of seller of books, and he looks up, and you can feel him screaming. The kind of energy and raw emotion is palpable, but you can't physically. Your eardrums are not receiving this. It's just being buffeted by his rage, and at the same time, he streaks forward, scowling and screaming, and he imprints the image of his face through your eyes and into your mind, and he's going to try and terrorize you. Seb, what is your conviction, please?
I don't have got any.
Can I use my quick reflexes to try and intercept him?
You can. What is your awareness?
My awareness is 3.
Okay. Yes, you are. You can act before Major Weir reaches Garia. You can act.
So, in this room, which one are we in? Remind me. Sorry.
You are in what's maybe the third floor, a kind of library.
Okay, and he's just come down that set of stairs in the top right.
He sort of dropped down a ladder, yeah, or sort of stumbled down a ladder, yeah.
Okay. In that case, are there any hangings, any draperies, any curtains of any kind?
You can see near you by you are mostly bookshelves, but unfastened to the wall. They're sort of freestanding bookshelves. There is an oil painting again of this sort of young woman, and yeah, that is all you see nearby you on the walls.
Well, if he can climb or drop down a ladder, he's got some sort of physical mass. I'm gonna try and get the painting off the wall and just slam it down on it.
Okay, you can make me an athletics or melee attack with that.
Let's do it.
And Garia, can you let me know what's your awareness?
Hang on, let me just check. Right.
That's a solid 9.
And Lilith and Professor Andrew, you from the other sides, you hear this crashing bookshelf and the kind of scatter of books, and then you hear Craig leaping into actions, and you can feel this deafening kind of roar of animosity that kind of washes over you as some kind of spectral emanation tears through the group, aimed at Garia. So Garia, what did you get? What's your
rolled an 8.
An 8, yep. And Craig, what did you get?
I got a 9.
You got a 9. Okay, let's see. So that was your melee attack of a 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I might actually spend a point of will and bump up to a 10.
Okay, I was going to say, with a 10, you kind of hurl it, and this, as you grab this picture and kind of rip it off the wall and slam it towards where you see that the sort of form of the picture is sort of pulled out by his presence. You see him kind of almost scream as he shreds through the portrait, but then he kind of rematerializes on the side as if he's kind of he was frightened by it, and then he kind of realizes that he has no body, and so the picture has gone straight through him. But Garia, you have the image and the flayed mind of the sorcerer pressed in through your eyelids and into your very mind. And so when you would be terrified and afraid, you want to close your eyes and scream, but he pushes through that. And unfortunately, with his role, you are frightened of him, which means in order to go against him, you're going to have to use 2 will. You're terrorized by his presence just to move against him. Yep.
Got 2 will.
Lilith and Professor Fletcher, you're actually going to be able to go before him as well.
I'm gonna leap through the curtain and try and curse him.
Oh, nice. Yep, you're going to do that. And Professor Fletcher, what are you going to do?
I'm going to. I think I'm going to run to the fireplace maybe and see if I can ignite anything. I'll grab painting or something. So I'll grab something small and wood.
Well, there's lots of books scattered on the floor as you kind of plunge through the things. I'm just saying, if you're looking for something flammable, there's lots of books, but there's a slightly splintered bookshelf that's collapsed.
Well, actually, there's a couple of religious texts. You can burn those.
About.
No, don't know why he's called those, but.
Oh, he was the Saint of Westbow. He does have religious texts, but you can make me
anything on those monks, and I'll burn that.
Okay, Professor Fletcher, you can make me an athletics check. Lilith, you're going to try and curse the spectral form of Major Thomas Weir. And Garia, what are you going to do?
Do I know anything about fighting spectral forms of sorcerers?
So I can say in the heat of battle, the thing that comes to mind is that often if you had something that was blessed, it would affect the form of the ghost. But if not, they tend to be immaterial, but maybe disrupting whatever he was doing, or whatever spell he was doing might also have an effect on him.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to... Garia, yep.
I'll just throw some books at him.
Okay, yep, you're going to start picking up and hurling books. Lilith, you want to roll... What's your conviction? Sorry, what's your law for this curse?
My law is 3.
Okay, so he's going to get... Oof, okay. So you have caught him unawares, even though he kind of is a master of this domain and usually knows all that's here. The cats downstairs, the wards, have warded you so that your presence was hidden from him right up till you leap behind through the curtain, and your hex goes straight towards him. You can roll damage with that, and I believe it is D6 will.
Yeah, it says, D6 plus 2 will. Oh, I rolled a 6. So 8.
Oh, very nice. So, okay. You rolled a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The ghastly kind of yelling and abusive form of Major Weir kind of staggers backwards as your curse is hurled at him, and you can see it physically pushes back his spectral form, and these kind of clouds and dust motes that make up his form swirl around and snarl, and then he snaps back into position, and you can just see he is horrified that you were able to injure him so, and he seems, if it can be, even more impotent with rage. He then gets to have his actions. He is rushed forwards and terrified, but you can see him kind of reach out, and books fly off shelves and fly towards each of you. Can you just let me know, Craig, what's your athletics or melee?
It is 2.
2. So okay, yep. Lilith, what's your either athletics or melee?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Okay, that's great. And Professor Fletcher, what's your athletics or melee?
I don't have one either, but I like books.
You like books, that's fine.
I don't think you like these books.
Garia, what is your either athletics or...
I've got a melee too.
A melee too. So even with the melee patterns kind of diving for cover, each of you is battered as books and splintered pieces of shelving kind of rise up off the floor and crash in a crescendo like a storm around you as this whole kind of spiritual poltergeist is released. And each of you take 4 endurance damage as you are battered
Four.
by books and shards of stuff.
Ow.
That is harsh.
So, Professor Reynolds, what was your athletics? You were trying to make it across the room to the fireplace?
I was trying, and my intentions were good, but I got a 5.
You're 5. Okay, yeah, you're stumbled under the onslaught of these books pelting and smashing into you. What do you want to do? The next round going is Craig. What are you wanting to do?
There's not a lot I can do. I'm going to run for the ladder.
Okay, you're going to run for the ladder. Yep, so just make an athletics check. You're going to try and get there quickly.
Yep.
Garia, what are you going to do?
Have I got 2 seconds to have a look around and see if I can't see that freaking coat?
Yeah, so okay, you can make me an awareness check, but it's going to be difficult because, as you say, like books were being flown and flung about, you being battered by the kind of remains. So I'm going to give it like a 10. You have to get this. Lilith, what are you going to do?
Can I tap into my drive to try and recover some will? Because I'm on empty.
Yeah, and what is your drive in this situation?
So Lilith's drive is all about kind of, being legit, being a real respected magic user. And I think that this fight with one of the most powerful black sorcerers in Edinburgh, this is giving her a real rush. She's thinking, I've arrived, guys. I'm important. I just cursed a lich.
Nice. I'm going to definitely give that one to you. You may roll your d6 to gain your will back.
Oh, 5 more will. Nice.
Nice. Professor Reynolds?
Yes, this isn't going exactly how I wanted it.
Yeah, you're sort of picking yourself up the floor, kind of bruised and battered from the books.
Yeah, and the takeaways everywhere.
Oh,
You had one job,
I
Flash.
know. I should have just eaten it, because now no one's going to eat it now.
I want reimbursed.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course.
Put it on his defenses.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I think I'm still going to try and search out something flamey.
Yeah, you can see there's a tattered rug on the floor. There is some 2 sets of chairs and some books and like a book stand next to the fire. And as I say, many splintered the bookcase is kind of it was crashed over by Garia. It's kind of been splintered across the room. So there are chunks of wood nearby you, and some partly sort of destroyed book covers as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just I think anything like a chair leg or half of a shelf or something. I'm going to pick up something that's got a bit of length to it, so I can wield it a bit like a torch. 2-handed or 1-handed doesn't matter, and I'm going to grab that. I'm going to head towards the fire.
Okay.
And ignite it.
So you're going to try ignite that. I'm just going to get you to do another athletics check for sort of doing that.
Yeah,
how quickly you can do that. Lilith, you're kind of like exulting in your kind of fight with this creature, and Gary, you're desperately trying to look around for this coat. You can't see the coat down here, but if you make me the awareness, what did you get for your awareness check?
A 9.
Okay, as I say, you can't see the it's down here, but you can see that, like at the other end, it looks like there was a whole lot of books open, and as if this Major Weir was reading or perhaps preparing something. But as you're seeing those things, Craig, you're making a dash for the stairs.
I got a 10.
As you do, you see Major Weir kind of whirls around and pulls himself back together where he's pushed apart and thrown apart by this curse from Lilith. And you can see him pulling back these fibers, and this sort of detritus and residue rises off the floor to reform him. But he's turning and twisting towards you, and you can hear, again, he's screaming like "no" to you, but you can't hear it, and he kind of lunges towards you. Can you make me? What's your athletics or melee?
They are both 2.
Okay, you
are.
are.
To make a check.
I want you because you were trying to get to the ladder, so you can make me an athletics check to see how quickly you can get there.
I will spend 1 point of will to take an extra action before anyone else, thanks to my quick reflexes.
You may absolutely do that. So you are faster than Major Weir. Can you give me a roll, an athletics roll, and do well?
Sure thing. Will do. 10.
10. can, yes. You leap and you get to the foot of the ladder. You can feel, and as you grab the ladder, you can feel that this is just a sturdy wooden ladder in this area. It does not seem to have this kind of weird, sort of strange
Up
kind
and
of
down,
misting of the mind. Yeah. And you get on the ladder and you're starting to climb up. As you turn around, you can see, Professor Reynolds, you've got this kind of leg of a piece of furniture in the fire, and you kind of got, there's a bit of the maybe old varnish or whatever was covered in it sort of suddenly crackles to life, and you can see these flames blossoming. There's no sense of heat to you or orangey light, but you can see the flames are catching.
I got a 2 on my athletics as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I rolled 2 1s.
Oh, you rolled 2. Oh, you rolled 2
no!
1s.
Yep. This
Okay.
room's wonky. I don't know what to say.
So, as I said, they kind of crackle to flame, and there's sort of a kind of it crackles, and at that moment, sort of you just realize, it then starts smoldering and smoking, and gouts of smoke start to pour out of the fire. So rather than kind of aiding you with giving you a burning brand, there's just this reeking pall of smoke, and suddenly you can't quite see what's happening. And Gary, as you stagger towards the back of the room to see these books and eldritch tomes, you kind of overcome as this sort of waft of smoke, putrid black smoke pours forth from the chimney. But as this is happening, Weir is kind of recuperated and is lunging for Craig on the ladder, and kind of lunges and goes through, like basically misses your legs and kind of rattles the ladder, and you feel it bash underneath you as a kind of the spirit form of Weir kind of try to push against it. But he has not succeeded in his attack.
I'm helping.
You are indeed. So we're going to cut to the start of the next round. Craig, you are going first because you've spent your point of will. Are you continuing to go up the ladder?
I'm getting up that ladder as quick as I can.
Okay, you're going up that ladder. Lilith, what are you doing?
I'm gonna reach out and use 2 of my will to bless a weapon. I suppose the big stick that Fletcher has.
Fletcher's having a cudgel, or reeking, stinking, smoking cudgel, but yes, he does have one.
So I reach out and touch it and imbue it with my blessing so that it can affect spectral creatures.
Fantastic. Garia, what are you doing as you kind of chokingly claw away the smoke, which now seems all too real and to be filling the space?
Yeah, it's lovely. So whereabouts is this pile of books? And where...
Well, they kind of were near the fire on a kind of reading table, and
Okay.
you've seen Fletcher has inadvertently knocked them, and so they kind of scattered around. But you can see.
Great. Well, can I see if I can see anything?
Yes, yeah.
See the titles and...
Yeah,
Just get a vague idea.
given you're kind of being harried and it's smoky, you can make me an awareness check to see if you can pick out these titles. But you are an antiquarian bookshop connoisseur and one of the greatest researchers of the group.
I'm pretty good at 11.
11. Okay, so this is what's happening in this room. Professor Fletcher, you've spun around, and whilst you're kind of reeling from the choking smokes, you can feel that the club in your hand gets lighter, yet somehow more real and sturdy in your fists as the blessing of Lilith Hazelstar takes effect. Craig, you break through the trapdoor, a loose trapdoor above you, and you're into a low attic that is cluttered with paraphernalia of bottles and jars and table and years worth of storage, but chalked out on the floor around you are several tables. One seems to have a pile of dirty shells, one has a top hat, one a cane, and one a set of glasses, and marked out on the floor you can see an eldritch incantation has been marked. But you and Gary, you spot that in your hands you've picked up a tome that is sort of a great black grimoire, and you can see straight away that it is a spell of particularly vile potence to draw the essences of things and reclad yourself and form a body or a skin.
Okay.
You can see straight away that these things need to be entwined or wrapped into the spell as you quickly scan the text in order for them to be drawn into the body of the creature. Okay. What do you want to do at the top of this round? So whilst you've done that, so just as you stand triumphant, Professor Fletcher, with your blessed weapon, Weir kind of is like lunging up the ladder and trying to ascend it, and he's sort of in a spectral form. He sort of is moving up the ladder. Craig, can you make me what's your conviction, please?
I don't seem to have any.
Okay, that means he's trying to do something against you. You can feel reaching out from behind you, the tendrils of a kind of scaly hand seems to almost scratch against you. And looking back, you can see the kind of Major Weir feebly reaching up through the trapdoor, but his hand doesn't reach you, and his spectral form fades again. So he did not touch you. Okay. So in this round, we're back to the round. Craig, you get to go first. What are you doing?
What's up in here?
As I say, it's cluttered full of junk, but there seem to be stuff cleared to the sides. There's small tables, and amongst them, one is the pile of dirty shells, the other is a walking stick and a cane, and on the floor is chalked out eldritch lines which seem to kind of curl around and mark them.
I am just kicking and scuffing those chalk marks.
Okay, you're doing that. Garia, what are you doing?
Okay, so how close am I to this ladder? Can I see it from where I am?
You can see it. Yeah, well, you've got the text in your hands.
Okay. Can I put the text in my bag?
Yes, you can.
Thanks. Then I will make for the ladder.
Okay, between you and the ladder is the form of Major Thomas Weir, who's kind of trying to clamber up the ladder. So Lilith, what are you doing?
Ooh, I've got a little bit of will left, so I'm going to try and curse him again. I'm also going to yell at Fletcher, I've blessed your weapon, do not screw this up!
Okay.
Great. Okay, so Lilith, you're going to expend your 2 will to curse him. And can you remind me again, what is your law?
It's 3.
Oh, okay. You hurl your curse. And it seems like with his all of his mind and his will bent on getting to Craig, this curse also hits and strikes through his nebulous form. And uncannily, you have struck again at a great sorcerer. So roll your dice.
Ooh, I rolled a 5. Plus 2 is 7. Lilith is never going to shut up about this, guys.
We're gonna get you a jumper.
Gonna be 5. Okay, you see that. Yeah, you blast the sort of spectral form and excoriate it with your magic as your hex takes place. You see there's a shuddering in the building itself as the very thing that maintains this realm is shaken to its core, but still stands. Professor Fletcher, what are you doing?
I'm going to bonk him on the head with my smoking stick.
Do you have athletics or melee?
I certainly don't.
Okay, you just got a 2d6 roll.
Yes.
And your target is going to be, again, is 11.
Okay, great. Yes, so I get 6.
And you can use will if you wish to boost us up.
I only have 3 will on me. It's remaining.
Oh, if only someone could inspire you with their words here.
I can inspire others. Is that helpful?
No, sadly not. Okay, so yeah, you heft forwards with this thing, and instead of smashing into the creature, it slides past and just batters into the staircase. As the spectre of Major Thomas Weir makes it to the top, shortly just behind is Garia reaching up the staircase. Craig, upstairs, you're busy kicking and scuffing at the things. Frustratingly, the marks on the ground don't move, don't score out. But as you kick the tables, they do fall over, and the pieces of the shelly coat and the cane and glasses kind of fall off and onto the floor and outside of the circle. You can hear you can feel the rage of Major Thomas Weir behind you, impotent rage at this as you are disrupting his ritual. What are you doing, Craig?
I'm going to grab the shells and shout, "Let's get the hell out of here!"
Okay, Garia, what are you doing? You're coming up the staircase. You've made it to the ladder. Yep.
Am I up the
if you can make me a good athletics check, you can be.
I have no.
Sorry,
got melee.
2d6.
6.
6. Okay, you are at the top of the stairs. You're not fast, but you're up.
Okay, can I reach any of the things that fell to the floor? The cane, the hat, or the
Yeah,
glasses?
the cane has fallen quite close to you.
Okay, I'm gonna grab the cane.
Yep, you grab the cane. Lilith, what are you doing?
Oh, gosh, I've only got one will left.
My stick.
Can I pick up the stick and try and hit him with the stick?
The blessed stick. You know that because it has not struck yet, your blessing might still have on it because you know it only has one good hit. So you can take the stick from the clutches of Professor Fletcher.
I'm gonna
Okay.
try and hit him with the big stick.
Okay, he has gone up the stairs, so ahead of you, and Gary has just reached the top and got 6, so you're going to have to climb up there.
Okay, athletics.
Athletics, yep. But while you do this, Major Thomas Weir whirls on you, Garia, as you've deigned to kind of come into his sanctum, where his spell is being trampled on and ruined by you interlopers into his realm. And you can hear him again kind of hurling this abuse. So if you want to go kind of close to him, again, you're going to have to spend some will because he's still a terrifying form to you, but he's reaching out. Can you let me know what your conviction is, please?
I have no conviction.
Okay. So, okay. A sudden coldness overcomes you as he kind of like reaches forwards for you, and then his hand kind of goes straight through your form and into your heart and seizes it, and you feel coldness overcome you, and you can feel that some of your life is ebbed, and you can see his form grows more solid, and as he kind of pulls back, you can see maybe years of your life flowing into his, and he becomes stronger.
Get off me, yeah.
Yeah. And you visibly quail, and Craig, you can see Garia's hair grey and her life drain a little in front of you. Okay, Craig, what are you doing?
Are we leaving, guys?
Yes.
Guys, are we leaving? Right.
We go.
Yep. I'll also drop down the way I came.
Lilith is climbing up the ladder at the moment as you go to try and drop down. And you're trapped in an attic with a crazed spectre, and Garia is also standing nearby, so it's quite a closed area.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck up there, guys.
I'm going to drop the shells down and say catch.
I'll try. Nothing's gone right so far.
Can I react to that on the ladder?
You can, yeah.
I'll try and catch the shells.
As they go past, okay. You can make an athletics check. You do think that Craig is possibly trying to chuck them past you to Professor Reynolds, but you can make
Oh
an
no,
athletics.
sorry. If they're meant for Reynolds, then I'll just try and make myself as small as possible.
Any redundancy we can build into this system, the better.
I think redundancy is needed.
I rolled an 8.
Okay, you move to the side, deftly, so that the shells pass. Professor Reynolds, you can make me catch. Not too difficult, so 8 should be fine. I say that.
What about a 6? Okay, no, I can use my will. Okay, I get exactly 8.
You exultantly catch the coat of the Shelley coat as it falls to your hands. Gary, you spin around indignantly, having had been sort of assaulted by the spectre, but you clutching in your hands, you feel, or rather sense, that you have a magical cane in your hands. Lilith, you have just reached the top of the stairs, and you clutching in your hands, you also have your blessed cudgel of smoking haze.
I'm going to swing it at him with everything I've got.
Great. I'm going to get, Gary, you can also make an attack, and Craig, you're clambering down the stairs as Lilith gets past.
Do I want to attack him with a magical artifact that he can suck Actually, he can't suck it out because he needs that ritual to... Yes, I'm going to hit him.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do first is I'll get... so, Gary, you can make me attack with either melee or athletics, and Lilith, you can also make me attack with either athletics or melee.
I don't have athletics or melee, but I rolled an 8.
You rolled an 8, okay. So, unfortunately, you need 11 for this one. So you swing it, and his form kind of coalesces around, and your swing goes wide. Garia?
Sugar. That was a double one.
A double one. Okay, as you do this, you strike forth, and rather than striking Major Thomas Weir, your cane cracks against one of the beams of the thing and shatters, and there's a splintering light and a stabbing pain as the magical energies of the cane are released. And you can see around you, though, it has had the disastrous effect that nearby glass shatters and vials break, and you can smell the kind of caustic smells of possibly vinegars and distilled turpentines, and there is a kind of as a fire kind of erupts next to you, and you are partly kind of clad in fire.
Oh, that's fine. Who cares? Fire! Wanted fire!
Yes, that's what I was
Get
trying
out
to
of
do.
here!
Okay. Well, I tell you what. So, with fire, are you wanting to stay or are you wanting to flee? You can see this kind of fire quite quickly.
Lilith
I mean,
is
we-
out.
Lilith
If
is
we can
out.
get out of here and close a door,
Oh,
like this guy, he's got no substance to him. If we close the door, he's knackered.
Okay.
Like
You kind
that.
of drop down through the hatch. I won't get you to make some athletics at the moment because I'm also kind of aware of the time of wrapping this up. So you drop down the hatch and it kind of clangs shut as you can feel the inferno. You can also see leering over the hatch as you close it the face of Thomas Weir, and he's backlit by these kind of these flammable kind of jars and unguents exploding nearby. Gary, your hand throbs with pain, and you can feel not only have you suffered from the detriments of some black sorcery, but also in breaking this magical cane, something has leached into your hand itself. But standing triumphant at the bottom of the stairs is Professor Fletcher with Shelley's coat.
Good
And
news.
good news, we'll end it there with your triumphant possible demise of Major Thomas Weir in the raging inferno upstairs. But certainly you have the coat of Shelley Coat, and you can return it to this poor waif and sickened creature. And for tonight, we shall end the adventures of Green and Pleasance Land here in this smoke-stained and eerily quiet room with just the occasional yowling of a cat from below to keep you company. Matt Jebb as Craig Wheelman Gillespie, thank you very much. Anne Lanneman as Gary Reed, thank you very much. Camden as Professor Fletcher, thank you very much. And Louise Carey as Lilith Hazelstar, thank you very much.
And thanks
Thank
to
you.
you as well
Thank you
for
very
running.
much.
We
Yeah,
will
thank you
end.
very much.
We'll end the scene there. A little hastily ended, but I'm aware of the time, of the time constraints of the format. But thank you very much all for playing. I hope you enjoy that. It was good. There was some investigation, some strangeness, and it would be great in the future if we don't know to play some more.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm going to see a doctor first, but
You should, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Gary should definitely see a
I
doctor.
might go to the gym.
It's good. There's definitely some character. I can see some arcs here as the characters want to progress and go further in their lives. But for tonight,
Lilith is gonna start her own fighting school.
Yeah.
very nice. But for the viewers who are watching from Cymera 2021, thank you very much for watching the Saturday RPG Strand. This has been Liminal, and thank you very much for watching. We'll end it there, and we'll say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.